Welcome, Lou Bravo family. Good evening. Let's kick it off right away. I got a message from, I believe it was Anna in the comments, asking about the cold storage and what are the best options, and maybe even some concern about taking it off the exchanges or off of your brokerage account and putting it into cold storage. I'm going to try to give a foundation on why cold storage might be a good idea, at least philosophically, if not for practical reasons, for nothing else. And there is a cost to this as well, moving it off. And I'm going to show you that also when I break down kind of the reasons why beforehand. So let me um, let me share my screen here and making sure that I'm sharing the entire screen. I'm going to go to my Uphold. So whether you have a brokerage account, Uphold I consider a prime broker, so I just call them brokerage accounts, whether they are legitimately in the traditional sense or not. It doesn't matter to me. I still view them the same way. Versus an exchange, maybe like Coinbase, or maybe like Kraken, or there's probably a couple of others as well. Coinbase is the primary one that I use that isn't Uphold, but I use it very sparingly, very little. I do have a private, what I would call a vault. I call it a vault, otherwise known as cold storage. It is a Ledger Nano X. I've used X, I've used S, I've used Trezor, and I'm looking to jump into Arculus and EliPal just to kind of get used to it, if nothing else. And I'll do some updates on that. Also, what you're doing is you're just spreading out risk at that point. Um, I kind of like the edification part of it, so I like trying different items there, so I know at least the experience of what I speak of when I'm doing these videos. You know that I've actually done it before. So I'm going to give you kind of um, a view of the ecosystem of what we're looking at with your brokerage account on Uphold, let's say, versus a private vault at home, otherwise known as cold storage or hardware storage for these assets. This allows you to secure them and take custody of them away from the exchanges, so you're not at the mercy and the risk of, could be political risk, could be financial risk if some of these things go under. Some of them that could be fly by night as well. I don't believe Uphold or Coinbase are in that fly by night scenario, in that realm. But you never know. Again, if you leave your entire wealth on these exchanges on an account where you just see the numbers and the guy in the back end who puts in the numbers says, I got you, this is what you have. You can never 100% be sure that you own it. You've heard that phrase, not your keys, not your coin. That's a good phrase to live by, particularly if you have a pretty in depth understanding of what this digital space is about. I would consider it an axiom, something that is ironclad and a rule to live by. So let me explain to you kind of why and what this ecosystem looks like. So what you're going to have, I'm going to use XRP as an example on one side. I'm going to use XLM as an example on the other side. Now, XRP and XLM are going to have two items you're going to have to understand and get a good grip on at least how these work. One is called an address. This is the unique identifier where the coins are sent. And then XRP has something else called a destination tag. And XLM has something called a memo. I want you to think of it like this, of what we're used to kind of wrap your head around this and assimilate what you've been using, as a bank on your day-to-day transactions. And you've written checks, probably you've maybe done electronic direct deposits, and each thing a bank has in order to make that happen and to validate that transaction from one entity to another, it has to have two things. It has to have a routing number, has to have an account number. Think of a routing number when you think of an address for each of these coins that you're sending to, And if there is a destination tag and if there is a memo on each one of these, think of that as your individual unique account number at your bank that is associated with that routing number. The interesting thing about Uphold, and even more interesting thing about the Ledger Nano S or Nano X, either one's fine, or any other hardware wallet, doesn't matter, is that Uphold sometimes will have a destination tag to send it to. It depends on the coin and depends on how many accounts you have with that specific coin. In Uphold, you can have your XRP main address, and then you can have number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, whatever the case may be. And sometimes you'll see those destination tags pop up for those extra addresses 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you won't see it for your main one. Same thing with XLM. You'll see an address and a memo sometimes with Uphold, probably more likely Kraken and Coinbase and maybe even Binance, I guess, at that point. What they're going to have is an address and a memo in order for you to send the XLM coins there. The same way if you were going to send money there, they're going to need a routing number and they're going to need an account number. The relationship between these two is interesting because any entity that's a financial institution, let's say a bank or a credit union, that has a routing number and then an account number there, it's automatically understood that the bank is the custodian of that money because they have a routing number that's the same and the different unique account numbers that they will take and itemize and put that money in, which is your account associated with your name when you sign up for it. Just like Uphold. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the coin and depends on how many accounts you have open. However, let's take Uphold out of the, why is this here? Let's take Uphold out of the equation here, and let's go all Ledger Nano S or Nano X on you. When you send your coins from Uphold to your Nano S or your Nano X, you will have an address if you want to send XRP. You'll have an address if you want to send XLM. You will not have a memo, and you will not have a destination tag, which means in current bank think right now, you will only have a routing number on your own personal device of your Nano S or your Nano X. You will not have an account number. And when that happens, what is the only entities in the world that have routing numbers? Those are banks. So simply by you transferring self-custody to your Nano S or X and only having a routing number associated with that, you become the bank, which means you control those assets. Nobody else does. Uphold could go tits up tomorrow. As long as your coins and your digital assets are stored, technically they're stored on the blockchain, but as long as you have control of them and custody of them on your own private hardware vault, as I would call it, you're safe and sound because you actually hold on to it. You are now a bank. You don't have to depend on another entity, whether it's an exchange or whether it's a brokerage account, to say I got you and show numbers on there to say that you have that kind of wealth and you've secured those assets. You have secured them. Soak that in. This is the ecosystem. This is what it looks like. It takes a little bit to get used to if you're unfamiliar with it, but I'd have to say I like Nano S from Ledger. X is good too because I have that as well, but I've used both. Nano S is simple, it's user-friendly, and it does not have Bluetooth. So you secure it, put it in a Faraday bag, and then just forget about it until XRP goes into the stratosphere, wherever it goes. Keep some on the exchanges or keep some on your brokerage account that you feel you can afford for liquidity purposes, 5, 10, 15%, whatever it is. It's up to you. More if you'd like, but keep a good grip of it in your private vault, and then just keep the stuff on the exchanges that you think and you have planned out to make a play once this stuff starts running. So that's one side of the coin. No pun intended. I'm going to go into the cost of this now, and I've narrowed down some coins that probably you're familiar with, you've already invested in, you even own yourself. So we're going to go into a few of them, and I'll start on the left, going down from XRP to XLM to XDC, HBAR, Algorand, Casper, and Cardano. And like I said, all of them have wallet addresses. Sometimes you can have multiple addresses on your Nano S too, your Ledger Live. You can have different line items, and there each will be a unique address for something that you want to do. If you want to do property in one and keep a certain amount as a line item on your ledger, your private vault for property, leave it there. If you want some for other investments and other places you want to make, line it there and then rename the account. Whatever, it's pretty much up to you. You have full control of it. And like I said, some of them have destination tag is associated with XRP. Memo is associated with XLM and HBAR. Casper has something called a transfer ID or a transfer memo. Sometimes it'll come up like that. I haven't found anything for XTC, Algorand, and Cardano yet, but doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that I haven't seen it in the research that I've done, or if I've moved these coins around, I haven't seen it requested. So it may exist out there. Some of those other exchanges that they have one wallet address and then they have a bunch of destination tags or a bunch of memos. That means that the coins go into that address, they own it, and they just sort it out between the different memos and the different account numbers with your name on it, my name on it, somebody else's name on it, whatever the case may be. Here's the current price of each of these, 58 cents all the way down to 3 for Casper. And here is the transfer cost from your brokerage account. And this is primarily Uphold because that's who I primarily use. I've done research on all of them independently, but this is pretty much what you're looking at for Uphold if you were going to move it from Uphold to a private vault. So let's look at how much this would cost. And it doesn't matter how many XRP you transfer. I'll do a math equation just to kind of make it simple for you. But your cost for one transfer on this, regardless of the amount of coins that you're going to transfer over, whether you're going to transfer over 90 or 2090, it doesn't matter. We're going to go, and I'm going to price these out, and this is going to be very interesting because you're going to see firsthand what the cost is and why some of these are more favored than others. For XRP, that's a 0.00, it's 58 cents. So you got 3 zeros, 58. That's half of a penny to transfer XRP. I think that's a pretty good price comparing what it usually takes to transfer money around the world with other banks and the correspondent banks and everything else using the SWIFT system. Not bad. XLM is 12 cents, and it will cost you 0.1 XLM to send that over. So that looks like 1.2 cents. So about a penny to make an XLM transfer. Really, really cheap. XDC will cost you one whole XDC plus 99 cents. One's a transfer fee, one's a network fee. Again, this is primarily Uphold because this is what I've seen this happen. So you take one XDC, which is 4 cents, the 99 cents that's going to cost you, they actually make you pay an XDC. And basically you're looking at what, $1.03 to make a transfer of XDC into a private wallet, private vault. HBAR, it's going to cost you one HBAR to transfer God knows how many HBAR. So that's 10 cents to transfer HBAR. Algorand, interesting. This looks like along the lines of XRP as far as cost. If it's 22 cents per Algorand and it costs you 0.01 to transfer it, that is 2/10 or 1/5 of a penny it would cost you to transfer Algorand over from your private brokerage to your private vault. Casper, it'll cost you 4 Casper plus 99 cents. One's a network fee, one's a transfer fee. So 4 Casper is 12 cents. 3 cents times 4 is 12 plus 99 cents. So you're looking at $1.11 to transfer Casper over. And then Cardano cost about, on average, the research that I saw, it ranged from 10 cents all the way up to 40 something cents or whatever the case may be. So it's about, I took the average, about half a Cardano to transfer it over. So it cost you about 29 cents technically. Now, how would this work? All right, I'm going to use XRP because we always do. Uphold is your brokerage. Nano X is your private vault at home. You could literally have one on one screen on your laptop or phone and the other one on your other laptop and phone and watch it disappear from one and appear to the other one in mere seconds. And you want to transfer, let's say, 2,000 XRP. What is that? Used to be an art teacher before I went into academia, I guess. I don't know. XRP. And it cost you what? 0.001 XRP? All right, so 0.001 is the cost, which means 1,999.999 XRP will transfer over into your Nano X private vault. 1,999.999 XRP. So again, a half of a penny. That's what you'd accumulate in your private vault. That's what it would cost you. And it doesn't matter how many XRP you send over. This is per transaction. So if you did the next day another 2,000 XRP, you'd be looking at the same price that it would cost you for that transaction. This is why banks, when they when they batch payments together, it's going to cost them very little, comparatively speaking, probably what they're currently paying in order to transfer money and value and currencies around the world. So that's what it would look like. I'm going to do another video on kind of a little bit more of the mechanics of this, but just to get you started, you want to be the bank. That's the first thing. That's the reason to get the Ledger Nano X or the Nano X. And remember, nobody works for free. So this is what it's going to cost for some of the major coins that, I don't know, maybe you're investing in or somebody else is investing in or I'm investing in. There's other costs for other coins. I just use these because I knew of them and I've researched them. But just remember that that's what it's going to look like by the time it gets to you securing them on your own vault for private custody, getting it away from the exchanges and mitigating that risk on that end. I hope this was valuable. Hoped it helped. Again, giant hugs. More videos to come.